All right, you guys, the one you've all been waiting for. This is my absolute secret weapon when it comes to closing, and I'm super stoked to share with you guys here. So, this one close, we call it the bladder close. This is one of my secret weapons. So, I've used to close anywhere from $5,000 up to $25,000 consulting deals, and the first time I used it, I literally closed a $25,000 deal without even realizing what I had discovered. I didn't even know about this before, and I just did it accidentally and closed a 25K deal. And then I was talking to my fitness coach about it like the week later. He was kind of telling me like one of his closes or whatever about this when he was buying a car. He said the car salesman kind of used this on him, and I was like, dude, I literally just did that last week to close a 25K deal. And he's like, oh man, he's like, it's the car salesman's oldest trick in the book. And when he kind of made me aware and conscious of this, I was like, no shit, okay. So literally on the next day, I used this I think 3 times, and I closed all 3 of them, like paid in fulls on the call, and I was like, okay, this is too dangerous. So you guys are going to get the secret sauce here today, and if you find this helpful, if you're excited for this, drop a like below, because this is what a lot of people charge a hell of a lot of money for. So when I taught this to our clients inside of our program, 2 of them used it on their sales calls literally later that day and closed both of those deals. Like I had a $41,000 day cash collected, and I broke it down like a 2-hour deep dive for our clients and kind of told them like how I did it and whatnot. And then I shared this because that next day when I actually used this like on 3 deals, then that's when I closed them all. And I revealed this at the end. So it's pretty straightforward, but it is so damn effective. It's so funny. And after I shared this, then like someone in the comments was like, just kind of joking and said it was a bladder close. But the first time I used it, I literally actually had to go to the bathroom. So it was fully unintentional. But let's get into it, guys. If you don't already know me, my name is Jeremy Pogue. I help coaches, consultants, agency owners scale like crazy, build 7-figure businesses online, and I do a lot of sales coaching and stuff like that, helping people just make a shit ton of money. So let's get into it. What is it? Essentially, when you're on the call, I'll go into like when to use it, when not to use it, how to use it, why it works, stuff like that. But essentially, like, really, here it is. Like, just be like, hey, dude, I gotta run to the washroom before my next call coming up. Do you mind if I run to the bathroom quick, and then when I get back in like 2 to 3 minutes, you can have a decision for me? So it's literally that simple. And there's a lot of variations. You can kind of use your own words, use your own language, right? Like, hey man, I gotta run to the bathroom real quick. Do you mind if I just run, like, I'll be back in like 2 to 3 minutes, and then how about when I get back, you can have a decision for me? Does that sound good? And then they'll be like, oh yeah, it sounds good. They're not gonna like tell you no, you know? But here's why it's so powerful. So it releases the feeling of them feeling pressured to make a decision, right? A lot of people like don't make a decision, or they say, I need to think about it, because they feel like they're being pressured, right? So we want to kind of alleviate some of that pressure. So that way, what that leads to is it gives them a clear, tangible deadline to make a decision, right? It kind of buys them 2 to 3 minutes, and they're grateful. They're like, oh, shit, thank God, you know? Like, now they can finally think. So that said, they don't feel pressured. And what that leads to as well is it gives them space to come to the decision on their own. Or at least we're giving them the illusion that they're coming to this decision on their own, ultimately leading to less buyer's remorse and a better start to the client relationship, right? Because if they make a decision that they feel pressured into, then they might end up regretting it. And that's when you get buyer's remorse. That's when you get people asking for refunds, stuff like that. And they, oh shit, what did I just do, right? But if you kind of release some of that pressure, let them make a clear decision, and you have a clear deadline saying, hey, like, you kind of really set the frame saying, hey, let's have a decision here. Then what that does is it kind of empowers them to make a really good decision. And it also just detaches you from the sale, right? It's like, dude, I gotta go take a piss. So, like, I'll be back. Like, figure out your shit, and if you want to move forward, let's do it, right? And then they're like, it's almost like playing hard to get. It's like if I pull back, then they're gonna like push forward, and that's kind of what we want. So, yeah, it's so good. When to use it though? So it's really important to get the timing right, and when to use it. So after you've told them about your offer, after you've answered all their questions so they actually understand it and they can see the value, how it's going to help them, after you've told them the price and you've made them an offer to make a decision on the call, then boom, that's when you hit them with it, right? Use it when you can tell that they're right on the edge, but they're stalling or trying to say they need to think about it, right? They know that they need to make the decision. They know it's the right thing to do, but their amygdala is like firing and they're scared, right? It's something new. They're going to have to depart with all this hard-earned money, and they don't want to make the wrong decision, right? Even though logically they know, like they can see the value, they understand how it works. You kind of handle all of their logistical questions and stuff like that, and now they're just kind of scrambling, right? Maybe they don't like to make decisions on the spot or something like that, which most people don't. So if you use this, then that's going to be really solid because it'll actually help them like make a decision that they don't feel pressured into. So it's perfect. If they're stalling, they're probably just asking questions about random things that don't matter, right? That's kind of like one of the things I look for. If somebody's just stalling, then they're going to ask like, so like, what did you do? Or like, what was your business? Or like all this other shit that has nothing to do with it, right? They're just trying to like nervously change the subject, weasel their way out, or buy themselves time. So when I notice that they're stalling, I kind of just like, if they ask like a really random question, I just kind of deflect it and then kind of flip it back on them, right? So I'd be like, oh, that's a weird question. And then like, so like, that's a weird question, but honestly, man, like, I can tell you need to think about it. Like, I got to run to the bathroom real quick. I'll be back in like 2 to 3 minutes, and then that way you've got a couple minutes to kind of think about it, have a decision for me, and then when I get back, you can kind of tell me what you'd like to do. Does that sound good? So kind of like we do kind of buy themselves a little bit of time, but then we also have a very hard stop, a clear deadline on like the end of it, and then it's like, okay, you gotta rock and roll. Another time, it works great for a call where there's two partners. So if you're on a Zoom call and there's like two other people on there, I closed one $25,000 deal with that. There are two partners and then me. And one of them was totally sold. The other one wasn't yet. So I basically like recruited the partner that was sold to do the last bit of selling for me when I went away. And they ended up pulling through and paying on the call. So what I mean by that is like the one guy was totally sold because I spoke with him like on the very first call, and then his partner was not on the first call, so this was on the follow-up, and the partner wasn't sold because they didn't really have much context, they didn't really understand what we were doing or anything like that. They had a ton of questions, a ton of objections, stuff like that. But the first person knew that like, hey, like this seems legit, we can definitely help them. So when I went away, I just like muted my camera, or I muted myself, left the camera on, so like you could tell like I wasn't just sitting here still, and I was actually gone. But when I got back, when I started walking back, I heard them like talking, like going at it pretty hard, pretty in depth. So I just kind of like waited a couple minutes and just kind of like listened to what they were saying. And what that did was it kind of just allowed the partner that was sold to just kind of sell the other one. And then when I got back, they had a decision and they were ready to rock and roll. The one that wasn't too sold trusted this person, and because I had this person's trust, then this person was more likely to trust me too. When not to use it. So this is the last part. If they don't see the value, or if they still have like logistical questions, right? So one of the analogies I like to use with a lot of our clients is like when you're presenting your offer, picture it like it's like a puzzle. So when you tell your prospect about your offer, how you're going to help them, chances are there's going to be some pieces of that puzzle missing. And if they're asking logistical questions about, okay, like how does this work? or they don't see the value because maybe it was miscommunicated in a way that didn't really hit home with them, right? Then you got to go back to the drawing board with your offer and figure out how to better communicate it. But if they still have like logistical questions and they're asking like kind of the technicals, the logistics, like that's a good sign because it shows that they're serious and that they're actually trying to kind of put all the pieces together. So once you figure that they have all of their logistical questions answered and they actually understand like what's going on and kind of what this is and they see the value, and that's when you like hit them with this because they understand it, they see the value, they see how it's going to help them, they want it, but they're just scared to make a decision. So this is kind of that what you can use to push them over the ledge. So nonetheless, hope you guys enjoyed this video. This is literally one of my secret weapons. If I've used this on you, you're probably in the program already. And honestly, I'm not even sorry because you made a good decision. So if you are a coach, consultant, and you want to scale your company, we've helped a ton of people build six-figure companies, ton of people build seven-figure companies. If you want help, you want to do it the right way, you want good sales coaching as well, then booking a call down below. There's a link in the description, or send me a message over on Instagram if you got any questions too. We can chat there. Yeah, that's it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.